All right, we are live. How's it going? I believe we're live on YouTube, Facebook, and possibly our very first ever LinkedIn Live. Let me know if you guys are listening in on LinkedIn. Say that 3 times fast. But anyways, guys, this is our second PPC pop-up panel where we have been inviting last week, this week, the next few weeks, some PPC experts in the space with our own in-house PPC expert, Vince Montero, to give you guys the latest actionable strategies on how you can manage your PPC campaigns. And this isn't just your traditional bread and butter PPC, but we can talk about sponsored display. We're talking about sponsored brand, sponsored product. You talked a little bit about sponsored videos. So we got so much stuff in the PPC world, and that's why we wanted to really make sure to take these next few weeks to give you guys as much strategy as possible. And as always, this episode is pretty much going to be run by your questions out there. So you guys make sure wherever you're watching this live, start throwing some questions in the question box. We've got some that we've been gathering from social media that we're going to be going over as well. But before we get started, just in case it's your first time with us, my name is Bradley Sutton. I'm the Director of Training here at Helium 10. And Vince, can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Vince Montero. I am the product manager for ads, which is our PPC management tool, which I've been working on for about a year. And yeah, excited to answer questions about that and any way users can implement some of the strategies that we've also included in ads.
Excellent. Excellent. And Robert, go ahead and introduce yourself too.
Yeah, my name's Robert Boniface. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Etail Rocket. We are a full-service brand management company who manages Amazon accounts for brands anywhere from 6 to 8 figures, helping them either scale to the next level or help them get launched and make Amazon a growth platform for them.
All right, cool. I like doing different contests, just random contests. And so like this literally came to my mind. I have different Van Gogh paintings here. So here's your first. I don't know if you guys how much you guys can see, but does anybody know what collaboration this is? So this is like just a kind of a sci-fi reference. Don't say it, Vince or Robert. I know this is kind of from our. I'm older than you guys.
You're dating
Vince
us
is actually older
here,
than me. Vince has a baby face too. So, but Vince definitely is from this era. So who can let us know in the comments, what that's from? But let's go ahead. We got some questions already. Let's start off with. This is one for Vince. It's from Jazz. How is the bidding suggestion in ads determined?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm assuming we're talking about just the keyword bidding suggestions. So those are run typically against a 30% default ACoS for all campaigns that you have created or uploaded into ads. If you created the ad if you created the campaign in ads, obviously you can make a target ACoS. So what we look at is that 30% default, or we do have the ability for users to update that 30% default. So they can change 20% or 50% if they want to be more aggressive. The suggestions we provide, then they look at the performance over the keywords over a 7-day period, excluding the most recent 72 hours. So we don't look at 3 days. We constantly look at a rolling seven days. So based on the performance we see, then we look at how we're going to get that bid to get you the ACoS target that you have entered, either 30% default if you left it or any ACoS that you entered. So it's really fine-tuned depending on what you set as a user for your ACoS target. We look at the ACoS, obviously we look at the CTR, we look at the conversion rate, we look at impressions. So there's a variety of things that we look at the back end in our algorithm to then make the decision on the bid to suggest.
All right, Jazz, if that didn't answer your question, I don't know. Vince wrote a novel on that one right there. Now, Robert, please be a little bit more
concise
with your replies.
We have
Vince
a finite
is a show off
amount of time here.
Now, you two used to work together in the past, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I guess Vince is trying to show off a little bit here. That's right. I see what's going on here. All right. So we'll give you your first try, Robert. Here. This is from Hugh. If you've got a product with 2 color variations, do you separate them into different campaigns, or do you have both colors in one campaign?
It's a great question, and there's not really one size fits all. It depends on the product category. So a really important thing to pay attention to that we find is depending on the competition within any one of these different categories, it's important to both isolate growth in campaigns. Amazon's algorithm is directly correlated with quick click-through rate, relevance, and spend. So if you split out your variations too much, and you don't have your parent driving a significant amount of traffic, the ad rank is never going to get where you really want it to be. However, I would advise also setting up separate campaigns that are hyper specific to the color variations. So, i.e., if you have red, let's say a red spatula, you should have separate campaigns that only targets red spatula type terms. And then separately, you should also have a parent campaign that includes all of the keywords for all the products.
All right. Excellent question and excellent answer. Thank you very much, Hugh, on that one. I'll take this next one. This is from FK Adil. How much boost or credit will we get in organic ranking for a sale by PPC campaign? So it's similar to how much you get just in organic. Like if somebody actually searched for a keyword and that's what directly results, like you see a sponsored at the top, somebody clicks on it and they buy it. It's like a similar boost to the ranking as if they had done a search, find, buy, like what the organic process is. Now, just one, like if you got collagen peptides or some word that's searched for 40,000 times, you get one sale from PPC. Oh, you're not, bumping up to page one. But a lot of times this is a launch strategy that people use is when you first launch, you're not ranking at the top of the page and you're trying to get there. So you bid high on your PPC and you can, if you're not in the top 7 pages, you can get those conversions in PPC and it's going to have a very similar effect so that you can start moving up the ranking there. Let's keep going. It's funny, like last week we had to wait like 10 minutes or so.
I know, right?
The questions started pouring in.
Do you see the one from Abigail about tacos? We were literally just talking about this at 10:05.
Abigail, the click. No, I don't see that. Are you able to throw it up on the screen or no?
I don't know.
Oh, no, I see it now. I see it now. Okay. Like everything's out of order because we've got Facebook, we've got YouTube, like all these comments coming up. Here we go. Abigail, who I think is in Spain, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. Somebody was in Spain last time. Also, it'd be amazing to have a tacos per product. Is that in the pipe? There's some tacos for my lunch in the pipeline today, but is able to see it over time as this is an important metric. Vince, I'm assuming you want to take this one.
Well, yeah, because I wanted to tell her, yes, in ads, we do have the tacos per product. So the answer is it's already there. It's not in the pipeline. If you go in ads, if you go to the analytics page, you'll see different levels. One of the levels is product level. So since you can really only get tacos total sales or total ACoS per product, that's really the main area that we put it. So product level, click on that. As long as you have your MWS token activated with us and your in profits is activated, because we actually pull that organic or total sales from profits, you'll see your total sales and your tacos right there.
Nice. Let's just
Miracle maker.
Let's keep it with Vince really quick. It looks like we have another or maybe I don't know. Maybe you guys used to do this when you worked together before as well.
We experimented quite a bit with different.
So
different
either so I don't know if Robert knows this, but we only recommend. Broad, yeah. We only recommend. I was looking at their question. It's a little weird, but we only recommend broad for our research campaigns. So why is that? Like, why don't we do broad and phrase?
So the reason is the research campaign is called research for a reason. It's really designed to be the campaign where you're letting Amazon find as many search terms as possible for you for those keywords. So broad match keywords are going to get you the most search terms. So broad match, you can have 2 keywords, dog collar, as long as a user puts blue dog collar or blue collar for large dogs, you're going to get linked to that because dog collar is in that. If you do phrase matching, dog collar, you're only going to get matched to search terms that have a word before that dog collar, like big dog collar or dog collar black or blue, whatever. So you're limiting your search terms. You still can get search terms for phrase, but you're narrowing the search. So if you're really doing a research campaign, why would you narrow that search? You want it to be broad. So therefore broad match.
But also, I think it's important to note that Amazon's algorithm is not perfect. So you will find that sometimes products will perform better with better relevancy if you use phrase match. Broad is also going to spend money a lot faster. So just make sure that you're keeping a really close eye when you're using broad match and making sure you're adding negatives diligently.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Excellent questions and answers, guys. Let's keep it going. Hold on real quick. Cassandra, you might want to take a screenshot of this. Maybe even send this guy a shirt. This is our very first in the history of Helium 10, our first LinkedIn live question. Like we literally
look at that.
this is a historic moment. We've had probably 1 million questions. We've been doing live broadcasts on Facebook and YouTube for years, guys, even since before my time. But this is our very first. All right, so Tony, congratulations. That's a historic moment right there. Maybe we'll send you a Helium 10 shirt, Tony. That's up to Cassandra, but Cassandra's nice, so she might hook you up. Let's go back to I don't know what's going on with Abigail and Jazz. Are just trying to like hog all the questions, but hey, that's fine. That's fine. This is some good stuff. So Jazz is back with what ACOS would you target at launch for your first month? So some people are like, hey, maybe my target ACOS is 30%, but like the odds of me having 30% ACOS in my first 3-4 weeks of a brand new product launch, especially if I don't have a lot of traction, is pretty slim to none. So what are how do your standards change, Robert, when you're in like that first month, and at what point maybe does your standards change even?
Well, I think it's very important to understand your budget, right? And that's the first step. But if budget aside, your main goal is scaling the product to the best of your ability when you launch, it is imperative that you go hard and fast. And that with those research campaigns, those broad campaigns, those auto campaigns, you're both increasing budget and also hitting top of search. Right now, with advertising being so competitive, it's important that you go aggressive with your bids out of the gate because you're still playing with honeymoon period. Something called the honeymoon period in Amazon is when you first launch a product within the first 2 weeks to a month, that's when the algorithm is willing to basically place your product anywhere and everywhere for your product category. So if you kind of just play with trying to stay in the ACOS of 30%, let's say, you may be missing out on some massive opportunity of where your product may be displaying organically over those course of the first 2 weeks. And then not only that, something else to pay attention to is if you worry about your ACOS to start, then what's going to happen is the ad rank out of the gate is going to lose steam. And it's going to be really hard to start ranking on those top terms, let's say a month down the road after that campaign's been going, because Amazon has already basically established an ad rank. So long story short, don't go after your target ACOS out of the gate at 30%. For us, depending on the client, depending on the category, we're okay going 1-to-1, 100% sometimes. Depending on the category, if we're going really aggressive, we're going even more than that with a hyper-focused target, especially like exact match campaigns that we know we want to go after. But it's really important that you understand that this is launch, and launch is everything for a product. And if you wait too long to put steam behind the product, it's going to be a challenge. The last caveat, not to make this answer too long, you won't have reviews to start. You won't have reviews to start, but you will gain momentum. So if you already have the ad rank starting to put you at the top of these searches, and then all of a sudden you have 4 or 5 reviews from early reviewer program, you're going to pick up steam, and that ACOS is naturally going to kick back.
Yeah.
See, and I was just going to say 100% and leave it like that.
Sorry, Bradley, I didn't listen.
No worries. There you go. All right. Let's see. I'll take this one. I am 0 in PPC. Hey, I was with you, Anil, about a year ago. I owe everything that I do now to ads. From where can I take the start and best tips for beginners like me? So, Anil, I'm just going to assume maybe that you are a Helium 10 member already. And if you are, to go from 0, I would say Freedom Ticket. If you're a Helium 10 member, you've got access to Freedom Ticket. We've got some beginner modules from Kevin King. We've got some introductory modules from Vince here on PPC. That'll get you a good start. And then if you're only a Platinum member, Brian, if you would throw up the little banner at the bottom. If you're only a Platinum member, Anil, what I would suggest doing is just taking advantage of this offer of getting 25% off for the first couple of months to upgrade, because what's going to happen is you're going to be able to get into more intimate settings with Vince to be able to understand PPC, like ask him, like here we've got like 90 people live right now, but there'll be smaller groups that are specifically for these first few diamond members who are just getting into ads to kind of like, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, like lessen your learning or make the learning curve a little bit easier, you know?
Right.
So I would highly recommend taking advantage of that offer, Anil. You'll have the freedom ticket, and then you'll be able to get in these little group sessions with Vince and ask him like specific things. And if you're comfortable, I mean, you could even, you know, some people are like all, you know, private, which is fine. You know, like I don't want to show my products, but you know, if you want to show your products in that small group, Vince can even like literally give you exact advice on your campaigns. All right, thank you, Brian. You can take that down now. Let's keep going. I love you know, on Facebook it's everybody's name, but on you, since we have YouTube, like we get some really cool icon or thumbnails and usernames here. So we got Eagle Eye Reports Video Eye says with a mean face there. How many ASINs and run automatic with all ASINs in one campaign? I'm not sure. Do you guys understand?
Yeah,
do you have an Eagle Eye?
He has a lot of ASINs, and he's running all those ASINs in one auto campaign.
Okay.
It's it depends on how different those products are, right? If there may be just different color variations, you know, same size, same style, same price point, that might be okay. But for me, best practices is one auto campaign per ASIN, so you really can see what Amazon is finding for that particular ASIN, and then make decisions on you know, search terms that are working for that particular ASIN or not in that auto campaign. What are your thoughts, Robert?
For one ASIN, yes, we take that approach, but also usually we do it at a parent level just to conserve budgets too. So like if you have 10 color variations in a parent ASIN, we'll use one auto campaign typically for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll just negative out any kind of ancillary terms coming in. We actually, about 2 years ago, used to see that auto campaigns, when you dumped a bunch of products in, because it spent money, Amazon loved the algorithm. And we still have kind of like what we call legendary campaigns in some of our old accounts that we just keep live, and they're amazing. They run. We've never been able to replicate that as of recently with auto campaigns. So I would really use auto campaigns as a discovery tool, not just as a you know, sales generator. However, I would put the caveat out. They have just announced within the last couple of weeks that you can negative exact ASINs now in auto campaigns, which is amazing. So it kind of it now is the same as a broad campaign in that instance. And maybe their auto campaign algorithm is going to generate ideas that you wouldn't even have thought of in your broad campaign. So that is one thing to point out.
Yeah, we talked about that negative ASIN capability last week,
which is huge.
Oh, it's amazing!
Yeah.
You know,
we've all been waiting for that one.
For all of you guys, for all of you listening, so what we're talking about is in your search term reports for your auto campaigns, you're going to see that this starts with letter B. It's lowercase and it's 10 digits, letters and numbers. If it's wasting your budget, you can now add it as a negative. You didn't have that capability before, but you do now. I actually just did a PPC. We do a PPC tip of the week, Robert, now. And so that's actually my number one. So if you find that little episode, you'll see where you do that in Seller Central. But if you're not doing that already, make sure you're definitely, if not in ads, then do it manually in your search term reports. It's going to save you a lot of money to be able to turn off those ASINs that are not performing.
That's the number one wasted spend in auto campaigns is ASINs.
ASINs.
Random ASINs that don't even relate in any shape, way, or form. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hemant says, for one parent, how many types of campaigns are recommended, like keyword targeting or product targeting, and how many keywords in one campaign? So parents. So I'm just going to maybe just assume what he's talking about here is like there's a variation listing, but do you guys look at it at the variation level, or do you still tackle, you know, the child items with their own campaigns? Or do you put all either?
Yeah, go for it, Robert.
So to start, it kind of depends on where you're at with the product, right? If you're first launching a campaign, we would recommend starting with an auto, a manual, and a product targeting to start. That way you can kind of separate out your product focuses. And in doing that, we would put all the child variations into one. The reason for that is you want to pump as much traffic as physically possible without separating all the eyeballs and impressions out too thin. And it's also going to conserve your budget a little bit. Once you get steam behind a product and you get past, let's say 25, 30 reviews, and you feel like you picked up some good positive momentum, then I would think at that juncture, you can consider starting to break out some of your winners that may have unique colors. You know, in certain categories, black is everything and it converts 10x versus all the other color variations. So it would make sense to break that out into its own campaign and start to do some discovery. And if not just discovery, also do exact match specific to those variations.
And as far as how many keywords in a campaign, it depends on the search volume of those keywords, right? So we typically say 10 to 20, but again, it depends on how many, what the volume is. You want to try to put your high search volume keywords in maybe its own campaign, and then lower volume, mid-tier search volume keywords in a different campaign, because if you blend those, the budget's just going to get taken up by those higher impression keywords. So you're not going to ever see any data on those lower to mid-level search volume keywords. So you know, you want to make sure that you get the data. Obviously, that's the whole point of running PPC, especially at launch, especially in discovery. So 10 to 20 keywords max, but again, depending on their search volume.
I think that's a good point. One other thing to point out with that is understand that your campaign budget is broken out across every single keyword. So all those old YouTube videos that tell you to just data dump with thousands of keywords, like that doesn't work anymore. And what you're basically doing is you're saying, hey, Amazon, take your pick, what keyword you want to choose. And then if the algorithm picks up 10 keywords, they may be the worst keywords for you. And then you're never going to serve on those ones that may have actually been successful. So I think it's really important, like what Vince is saying, to really hyper focus on like that top 20. And then incrementally add from there, rather than starting out with everything and then trying to figure out what's what.
Exactly.
All right. We're going to do some rapid fire. Let's try and keep them like 30 seconds or less. I'll start with this one.
We'll try.
Here. We got 16 minutes behind on the questions, so we gotta catch up. All right. Juan says, Bradley, I'd love to see how you can launch a new product with your PPC software. Any specific strategies that you guys might recommend? So I've used our ad software to launch some case study products, and basically, the three campaign technique that Vince has in ads, that's all I do. And it's not, of course, hopefully you pick the right product and you pick the right keywords, and as long as you have, absolutely use ads and just I bid kind of aggressively in the beginning to get at the top of page one, and like Robert was saying, trying to get those initial reviews, and then things will get easier as it goes on. But for specific strategies, make sure to sign up for the Freedom Ticket Extra program or the Diamond plan, and then you can ask us, like we can actually show you some of these case studies that we've done, or at least I can, and Vince has some things that he can talk about as well. In those small group settings there. Let's see. Adi says, I had tacos for lunch. Enjoy. All right. Excellent. Adam, the realtor from Portland, love the shout out there to himself. Would you suggest a PPC campaign on a product that would be sold 20% below the main competitor, or just put the product with a lower price and wait to see what happens organically? Either of you guys.
So I assume you're just saying if you're trying to target a competitor that's already priced 20% below you and going after that, if you're out of the gate as a new product launch, it might be a good way to get impressions and see how you compare, but you're going to be at a huge disadvantage because most likely the top competitor, if they already have a better price, they have significant reviews, and 85% of customers are going after those reviews to determine their buying decisions. So there's a good chance that you could steal some traffic, but you're going to waste a lot of spend along the way. You're a lot better off taking your competitors where you are actually more competitive. You have a better, Bradley has a bunch of videos that I would say to check out on this, but targeting a lot of the competitors with lower ratings, maybe 3.5 stars, a not so good product listing page to start until you kind of compete with those top end listings.
All right. Excellent. Ivan says, ¿Cuánto tiempo recomendáis correr las campañas para sacar conclusiones? So how long or how much time to run the campaigns before you can start,
optimizations,
suggestions, optimizing, whatever. What do you guys say?
Again, it depends on the volume that you're doing, right? If you're spending a lot of money and you're very high volume search terms, you're probably going to want to be checking that daily because you're spending a lot of budget. If you're just starting out though, and you've got, moderate budget that you're working with, I say the minimum is 7 days, which is what, when I was a consultant, I basically would optimize campaigns every 7 days, just to give the change that you've made the time to actually demonstrate what it's going to do. So optimizations on a keyword level, I would say 7 days. That's why we built that into ads, is the 7 days without looking at the most recent 72 hours. So again, that's my recommendation.
All right. Entonces, Iván, dependiendo en la campaña, por lo mínimo 7 días para poder sacar conclusiones si es una nueva campaña. Hugh says, have you ever tested whether dynamic bid down versus bid up and down versus fixed bids are most effective? Robert?
It depends on your target. So up and down can be useful if you're doing for discovery purposes. We like to use fixed bids usually all the time, because then we can actually determine the optimal bid strategy with a lot of our keywords. The problem is there's so many movements with the up and down oftentimes, especially when you get into exact match campaigns, that you can't really optimize for those keywords specifically. So typically we like to do fixed, or we actually do only down a lot of times in a lot of our discovery campaigns, because it allows us to kind of control all campaigns at once and then make moves up when we want to.
All right. Excellent. Tori says, by the way, nice thumbnail, the 2 cats. My campaigns are doing fine, and they stopped generating sales. I have exact manual campaigns only. What can I do to solve this situation? Thank you for your help. Vince?
Wow. So if I'm reading this right, Tori was only running exact manual campaigns. I would suggest launching some other campaign types to see if that might help your product. Obviously, if you can get sales out of an auto campaign or a product targeting campaign, I would definitely suggest trying those. Figure out who your competitors are, launch a product targeting campaign. The more sales that you do get, then maybe those exact match campaigns will start performing. Typically, what you'll see, the main reason for this, especially for exact keyword manual campaigns, it just means that there are competitors out there that are also bidding on those exact keywords, and they're just outbidding you. And that is the tactic. Sometimes a lot of competitors do, which is why we say at launch, do 100%, because you've got other people out there doing 100% ACoS. So they know they're losing money, or maybe they're breaking even, but they're going to displace you, right? So typically what's going to happen is, if that's the case, you just got to increase your bids on those exact match. If you want just those ones to improve again or perform again, just incrementally start increasing those bids and see what happens.
I have to call out Mohammed here. He's making fun of Vince and me. I don't know how old Robert is, being in our 40s, but
Robert's a baby.
Shame on you, Mohammed. No questions answered for you. But yeah, Amazon.
I think he's saying dear senors.
Yeah, senor. That's what I'm going to tell myself instead of senior citizens. But anyways, Mohammed, we just launched a lot of our tools in Amazon India, and we are expanding the marketplaces. AE definitely is on our roadmap, but no immediate plans yet. So make sure to send anybody out there, if you guys are in any country that we are not servicing for Amazon, please send your messages to support@helium10.com so we know which ones you guys would like there. Let's keep. What is this? Is it necessary to opt for? I don't know what that is.
Deal of the day.
Deal of the day. Okay. If you're a second bestseller, so that's not really PPC related. So
if you can get a deal of the day, do it.
Do it.
Yeah, if you can get a deal of the day, there's never a bad.
Do it.
Unless you're already losing money on it or something.
Never say no to a deal of the day.
Adi says, "Can I ask about ROAS, not tacos? Ask away."
Sure.
About anything here.
Ask away. So ROAS is a new metric on Amazon. It's an old metric though for advertising. So I come from an ad tech background, and ROAS is what we used. So, but ROAS is just the flip side of ACoS. So instead of your ACoS is your spend divided by your sales. It's your sales divided by your spend. So it's just another metric, another way of gauging. It's kind of like looking at the results as half empty versus half full. So it's just a different way of framing the success. We are adding ROAS into ads, so that should be coming up soon. But tacos is completely different. So tacos is always going to include, the T stands for total. So that's including your organic sales, which maybe you will come up with a total ROAS as well. But for now, anything with a T that relates to actually organic sales, whereas currently ROAS is just still relating to your PPC sales.
All right. Tony was asking for that. Brian, why don't you go ahead and just throw that up for the rest of the episode, just so we can have that up there. But the diamond promotion, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but we can just keep that up there now. There we go. And we've got, let's see, fairly straightforward question. Should we go aggressive for launch the product for PPC in the beginning, or should we start slowly and go aggressive with time? One or the other. What do you say?
Aggressive
Vince?
out of the gate.
Yep.
As aggressive as you feel comfortable with, go as aggressive as possible out of the gate.
Yep. Figure out what your break-even ACoS is going to be. We're saying 100% because 100% means your revenue is equaling what your spend is. But there's fees, there's their cost of goods, there's things like that. So if you want to take those out, maybe make that adjustment to your ACoS, but be as aggressive as you feel comfortable with.
And if you want to be successful, do not go into a launch expecting to profit. Right. You should be focused on growing that product and putting all the money back into that product.
Exactly. How do I run aggressive PPC on a seasonal product? So, I mean, do you maybe do multiple campaigns so you can have more exact match? Do you just, we're just talking bidding high? What do you guys say?
I mean, it's the same as you would be aggressive on any kind of product, really. So you're just doing it leading up to your season. So definitely, depending on how many products you have, make sure you have campaigns for each of those ASINs that you want to be aggressive with. Make sure you're doing your auto campaigns, your manual campaigns, your product targeting campaigns are really big. So definitely look into that. If you're brand registered, definitely do some sponsored brand campaigns and definitely run some sponsored display campaigns. That way you've got full coverage of all the ad units that are available on Amazon.
And do it ahead of the season.
Right.
Vince and I actually been talking about this. Be ahead of the season. Don't do it once the season is in full peak, because it's a lot harder to organically rank peak season than it is ahead of the season.
All right, so it says relaunching a product with PPC. I'm also adding a variation to the same listing. What should be my strategy? So, when you're just talking relaunch in general, I mean, the ideal thing that you would have is pretty much the same as a launch, but like ideally, if it's a relaunch, like maybe you went out of stock, because of COVID or something like that, well, hopefully it'll be easier because you've got more reviews. Maybe you close your listing so you've maintained your rank. But if you're adding a variation to the same listing, just remember that, organically, your organic goal, you cannot be ranking for multiple or for the same keyword with multiple child listings. Like Amazon picks one to show. But the cool thing is, I've seen this before. I don't know if you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but like, let's say your blue one is the one that's organically ranking. Well, if you have a PPC campaign on the other variations, like you might be able to see, I've seen before, like the red one, or something might come up in the organic search, or at least once people start clicking around, even though you're targeting the keyword, it'll show up in the sponsored product section with some of your other variations. So you should always, my suggestion is always to target, unless, don't target necessarily a blue bottle for your red one, because that might not be relevant. But do you guys suggest targeting all of your different child items with similar keywords to see which ones stick?
I would recommend doing that. Yeah, I would recommend doing that. The only one caveat that I would say, something to be important, is if you're talking about child variations, when you're talking about packs of 2 and 3, be careful, because if you add too much value with packs of 2 and 3, your organic ranking, if the search volume and the sales velocity is going towards those packs, you may be on organic, let's say, spatulas, right? And all the spatulas on page 1 are showing 1 unit for $6, but you're showing a 2-pack for $15. You're not as competitive organically. So we've actually seen sometimes where if you get too aggressive with the additional variations, it can actually hurt you in organic conversions.
All right, let me I'm going to cover up Robert's face here, and Vince can read this while
That's a good one.
you can just like peek above there, but as Vince is reading this,
There you go.
so as to answer, you got it ready, Vince, or
question about Azure PPC generally. So I have one product and it has 12 color variations. All colors are in the main image pick. Okay. All the main images for each variation are the same. I have one portfolio, but only one variation is selected to advertise. The ACoS is higher than I would like. However, sales in real life seem good compared with spend. I'm now thinking customer sees the image and clicks, then chooses one of the other colors and buys it. It's not registered in my stats. So yes, exactly. So what happens a lot, and actually I was going to do a tip on this, especially since we are now able to show total sales and tacos. You'll see sometimes that your total sales end up being for a product being less than what your sales are for your PPC campaign. So people are like, how is that possible? Because we're talking about my organic plus my PPC sales here, but over here, we're just talking about my PPC sales. How can my PPC sales be higher than my total sales? Well, it's because you're running a campaign, maybe just one ASIN in that campaign. They're landing on your page. They're clicking they're seeing your different variations. They're buying one of the other color variations or products, but the PPC campaign is going to still register that sale. So you might think that the PPC campaign that with the ASIN or SKU attached to it is what's sold, when in fact it's not. It's that you're still getting the sale because it's your product. You ran the ad and the user used it, clicked on it, went through and bought one of your products. So you just have to make sure you're looking at the difference between what the sales of what products are selling through the PPC campaign versus what is actually being advertised, because sometimes they do end up being different. But to me, I mean, that's a good problem to have. You know, you're basically spending your money on maybe just one or two campaigns. You're driving the user to it, but they're seeing your other colors and they're clicking on another color and buying it. But the numbers won't add up necessarily sometimes when you see that, when you look at total sales versus PPC sales.
Which is why tacos is so important. So everyone should always be focused on tacos, not on ACoS.
Not ACoS.
Trust me, I focus on tacos every day of the week here. Let's see. How many ratings should we need to start the PPC at time of launch? I start PPC from day 0. All right. Yeah. So like even without ratings, because remember, you know, organically, sometimes I don't want to get to page 1 right away, because if I'm there organically, my conversion is not going to be great without reviews. Right. But the beauty about PPC is, you know, you don't have to pay unless somebody clicks on it. And if somebody clicks on a listing that has 0 reviews, they might be that kind of person who doesn't maybe care about reviews. And so it allows you to get that exposure to that kind of customer, you know, beforehand. So as soon as your listing goes live, boom. I just did a test listing last night. The listing went live. 5 seconds later, I was in ads creating my three campaigns to start from day 0 right there. Let's see. Sunny says, if you have a low impressions but it's a relevant keyword, would that mean that the bid is too low? This happens even if I'm bidding $2 or more. So you know that the easy answer is no. It doesn't always mean that. But Robert, you have a better answer than that.
So there's 2 things. One, suggested bid in Amazon for some categories is pointless. So even if it's saying that you're at the top end of the bid, right now we're seeing competition in big categories because all the big players have come into Amazon, that those are really not relevant. So 1, I would test going significantly above the suggested high end of the bid. But 2, there is a chance that Amazon is not viewing you as relevant for the keyword. So I would make sure that you have that keyword or keyword phrase everywhere in your listing, in your title, in your bullets, and also in the backend keywords, to make sure that Amazon's actually viewing you and ranking you organically for that keyword.
All right. Let's see. Is there... great question. I've seen this asked many times. Alberto says, is there a way to use sponsored brand ads with only one product?
No. However, what you'll see sometimes, and they're probably asking for this reason, sometimes you'll see sponsored brand ads with only 1 or 2 products in it. That simply means that the campaign was launched with the 3 campaigns, but those 2 products are out of stock. So that's why you're seeing sponsored brands sometimes with only 1 or 2 products. But to create the campaign, you do need the 3 products.
Another one from LinkedIn.
Although one caveat: sponsored video, one ASIN, and video is the future. So go after sponsored brands video.
Yeah,
I saw one. I wish I could find it again, but if somebody sees it, tag me in the comments here. But I saw one sponsored video ad. It was genius. It was a video that auto played, but it was like a video. It looked like an Amazon listing, and then like all of a sudden like the listing went alive. So like they did like a Photoshop like to make it look like it was still the search results, like an Amazon search results. And then all of a sudden like it was a dog or something, and the dog like came to life and started jumping all over screen. Like totally makes you stop the scroll. So like I gotta find whoever did that sponsored video. Like
that's brilliant.
That is.
Elda says, I love Helium 10. That's brilliant. No. Hope to work with you in the near future. What are some commonalities of the products that have had the most success? I mean, so I'm sure you guys can talk for hours on that, but like if you were to pick Robert, 1 or 2 things that's like successful campaigns have had, what's most important? What's the most important common thing they've had?
The biggest thing is launch. Launch is everything for any product, any category we've ever done where we've tried to ease into a launch. Even relaunching those products is a lot more difficult. The products that we have gone hard from day one, like you said, from 0 to 60 with no reviews, launching with your complete listing optimized, making sure you have good quality images. Because like Bradley was saying too, if you're going to have someone click through with 0 reviews, they're interested, but you better make sure that your listing is on point to convert them and make sure that you give them the information they need. And it doesn't mean just optimize for SEO, but also, depending on the type of product, maybe it's the size, maybe it's, is it paraben free or different nuance to that listing. I think it's very important to make sure that you get everything ready before you hit launch so that those campaigns can be successful and you can scale them from day one.
All right. Is there any way to have a private session with Vince, Montero, and Bradley? I'm assuming you're talking about PPC, not Zumba. I do some private Zumba, here and there. But the closest to that, OS Group. I remember this guy was always on our Project X talks. But yeah, the closest thing is definitely either in the Freedom Ticket Extra. Vince is there once a month. I'm there once a month. Kevin King is there that you can get in the small group, sometimes as small as 10 or 15. And then those who are who are Diamond members, who have joined for this deal will get in these smaller groups as well. But I wish we had, I'm sure Vince does too. Like, it's great to talk to you guys. I wish we had the time and the bandwidth to be able to do one-on-one, but, it's just not exactly possible.
Those start September 15th, right? So those are only 2 weeks away. So definitely take advantage of the promotion you're seeing up here. And then starting September 15th, for 4 weeks, I'll be doing trainings and be able to answer questions like that.
All right, Jules, I'm assuming this is a Helium 10 question here. The sponsored rank, so that's just, that's not an official Amazon term, but when you see that sponsored rank column in any of our tools, such as a Cerebro, what that's referring to is where we have detected you in the a sponsored campaign, like as in the search results, we have organic and sponsored results. So the organic rank is like, hey, you're page 1, position 1, you're organic rank number 1. Now, if your sponsor rank is 10, that means we have detected you as the 10th PPC ad or the 10th sponsored ad that shows up. Now, usually 10th is like maybe at the bottom of page 1 or on page 2 for that. So that's how you can kind of decipher what that means. All right, so guys, I still see a lot of questions. We're going to move these over towards next week and also our other ones that Vince was talking about starting September 15th. Guys, if you're watching this on the replay or even right now and you just remembered something, if you're anything like me, you're going to forget by next week that question. So right now, as you're watching this, type it still in the comments below, and then we can try and get to it on the next week. Real quick before I get into the special that we have here, Robert, if they have questions for you, like what's the best way to find you on the interwebs?
Go to etailrocket.com. That's the best place to get me, or you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Also, you gave me a shout out on this podcast on LinkedIn too. So those are the 2 best places for sure. We'd love to talk to you guys.
Perfect. So guys, just remember, this is something that we've never done before. What you're seeing on the screen below, where you can upgrade to Diamond or just get started with Diamond. 25% off your first month and your second month. And there's the reason why we made it 2 months is like somebody had asked before, like, how long does it really take to start knowing, to really start, optimizing your PPC? You're not going to get really, you'll know, guys, if you like Cerebro or keyword tracker or something within like one day, like, oh man, this is amazing. Like you're going to get benefit immediately. But, with PPC, guys, it's a process. We're not, no PPC program is going to take your ACOS from 300% to 25 in 2 days or something like that.
Yeah.
If anything would do that, it probably would be ads. But it takes time for you to, especially depending on how much time you have it on campaign. So that's why we extended this deal for 2 months instead of 1. And anybody who signs up, again, Vince, what are the benefits? It's not just, oh, you get a 25% discount, but explain again what you're doing starting September 15th.
Sure. Yeah, the promotion ends, I believe, September 14th that you see on the screen. So the next day, starting the 15th, I'll be doing kind of like focus groups, focus trainings. So for all the beginners, the first one will be for beginners. It'll be PPC 101 and how to use ads. And then we'll do, the next week will be a training on building campaigns and structures and leveraging ads. So each training is going to be about ads, obviously, because these are new members to ads. And then I think the third one is going to be on then optimizing those campaigns. So, and I forget what the fourth one is, but yeah, we want to help the new user, maybe who has never done PPC before, all the way to people, they may already be doing PPC. They may already be using Seller Central. If you are using Seller Central to manage your PPC campaigns, it's a lot of manual work. You're creating spreadsheets. You're pulling search term reports. You're spending a lot of time that ads does for you automatically, really. So I would love to have both types of people that are experienced, that know the grind involved with doing things manually within Seller Central for their PPC campaigns, and the newbies. So we'll have 4 courses and for all of those people.
Excellent. And guys, don't worry, like, just like with anything at Helium 10, like we fully stand behind like our offers, and that's why we have like money back guarantees. So, if somebody's a new user and who signs up with Helium 10, we've got that 30-day thing where it's like, hey, you don't like it, or you're not going to sell on Amazon, we'll give you your money back. Same thing here. If you're a platinum member and you're like, I really don't need Diamond yet, but man, that ads looks really good. I want to try Diamond out. I want to get in on these calls, but Vince is very boring in the calls, and you're very disappointed. Whatever. Go back to platinum. You ask for your money back. Right?
I did a Freedom Ticket X on Wednesday, and one of the guys in there was like, I don't care what Bradley says about you. You're awesome.
Okay, well, I was like, whoever said that, you're not supposed to like talk about how I badmouth Vince.
I'm like, I didn't know he was talking about me.
Only good things, but of course. But seriously speaking, guys, we're so confident that you're gonna like that at the end of the month. If you're like, I don't like ads, 25% off. So I don't know. You paid $70 more to upgrade. We'll give you that $70 back. That's how confident we are that you're gonna get a lot of value out of the tool. So make sure, if you guys are platinum members now, I don't care what level you're at, this is going to help you. I'm running right now 130 campaigns. A year ago at this time, I was running 0 campaigns. I hated PPC. It was too much of a headache. I hate downloading spreadsheets. I hate, making pivot tables, and I just hate it all. All right. So I always had somebody else do it in any of my case studies or in anything I was doing. And thanks to ads, like now I'm managing 130 campaigns, and it takes me like 4 hours a week in all these different case studies. I don't know if I think you saw it, Vince. I put some screenshots of one of the live ones that I'm doing, where, before it was like the ACOS was over 100%, and like my PPC sales on that account was like $900 for 2 months. And now the ACOS is, I believe it was under 50%, and it's $4,000 in 1 month sales from PPC. And that's all thanks to ads. It's not, my specialty is keywords and launch and stuff. PPC was not my specialty, so I have Vince to thank for that. So guys, give it a try. Sign up using that link below, and any issues you have, just reach out to customer service. Robert, thank you so much for joining us. This is like second time, right? You were with us on Megathon, and now this, and
sure.
And I think we'll definitely have you on a PPC talk for the podcast. All of you guys out there, don't forget, we talked about it last week. Go sign up on your phone or at helium10.com/podcast. On the Serious Sellers podcast. Find it on Spotify. It's been about every 6 weeks or so, we have this special episode just dedicated to PPC. It's called PPC Talk, and the last one was with Vince. Vince gave a lot of great info on sponsored display and sponsored brand. So make sure to check that out, Serious Sellers Podcast, and look out for Robert's episode. So any last words of wisdom for everybody for the weekend before we go leave everybody for the weekend? We've subliminally been talking about tacos so much that everybody's going to be binge eating. But what else? What else can people do?
Use video ads. Video sponsored ads is going to be your best friend. Figure it out. It doesn't have to be Bradley quality video. It just has to be a video. So literally just figure out any way you can to create a video for your products and start running sponsored brands ads.
And to add to that, if you're not brand registered, get brand registered, because you can't do that if you're not brand registered. So
touche.
Brand ads, sponsored display ads, tons of really, really powerful ad units are really only available until after you're brand registered. So get that done.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Robert, Vince, have a great weekend. All the rest
Appreciate
of you guys
it.
on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, have a great weekend. See you guys later.
Have a good one. Thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.